Welcome to the Deep Dive, your essential briefing on the cutting edge of aviation. Today, we're taking a high-altitude look at the dynamic world of flight. We're drawing critical insights from a recent strategic Foresight brief by AviPro software. And this deep dive, it's built on key documents from both the European Union Aviation Safety Agency, that's EASA, and the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration over in the U.S. Our mission is pretty clear: uncover the pivotal developments shaping the future of flight. We're talking groundbreaking drone tech, crucial safety updates, and, well, the vital human element behind it all. By the end, you'll hopefully have a unique vantage point on where flight is headed. So let's dive in. Our first major topic: the sky of tomorrow, drones and digitalization. First up, Europe. ES has been making significant strides advancing infrastructure for drones and electric aircraft. They have this thing called the Innovative Air Mobility Hub, or IAM Hub. It's a really crucial piece of the European Commission's Drone Strategy 2.0, aiming for a smart, sustainable EU drones market. Okay, let's unpack this. What's this hub actually doing for safe drone planning, especially with all this new data?
Right. And what's really insightful about EXO's IMM Hub isn't just that they're standardizing data, but the sheer level of detail they're getting into. They've just rolled out comprehensive EU-wide population density and land use data. That was a top priority, for safe drone planning and operations.
Okay, population density, land use makes sense for knowing where drones can safely fly.
Exactly. And it also incorporates updated geozones. Those are basically the designated areas for drone flights, restricted or permitted, and a revised drone database. All of this is really laying the foundation for something called ESORA functionality down the line.
ESORA functionality. What exactly is that? Sounds quite technical.
It is a bit, yeah. It's ESO's digital tool for managing specific operations risk assessments. Think of it like automating how complex drone missions get approved. It assesses their safety using real-time data. So the IAM Hub essentially acts as this digital ecosystem. It fosters collaboration between cities, regions, national authorities, operators, manufacturers, everyone involved in drones, and potentially air taxis.
So it brings everyone together digitally.
Precisely. And it gives governments and industry much better planning tools. This supports the growing drone economy across the EU and Switzerland. It really emphasizes that critical need for consistent, easily accessible data. And this is a big project, backed by the European Commission and Parliament. Phase 2 is slated for completion in September 2026.
2026? That sounds quite soon for such a big integration.
It is. That timeline really signals EASA's aggressive push to get these advanced drone capabilities operational across the EU, and quickly. It's a foundational effort for future air mobility.
Okay, so Europe is definitely pushing ahead on the data and framework side, which naturally makes you wonder, what's the U.S. doing? And here, the FAA is tackling drone integration with, well, an equally ambitious, but maybe a different kind of approach. Under Transportation Secretary Sean P. Duffy, there's a proposed rule. It aims to speed up the broader integration of unmanned aircraft systems, UAS, or drones, specifically by making beyond visual line of sight, or BVLOS, operations easier. That's where drones fly out of the operator's sight. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yes, and the real aha moment here, I think, isn't just faster BVLS approvals. It's how getting rid of those previous really cumbersome waiver requirements could fundamentally change the game for investment.
How so? Less paperwork.
It's more than that. It sort of de-risks venture capital investment in drone-based services. Think about it. If it's easier and faster to get approved, investors are more likely to back new drone businesses. So it's not just a regulatory tweak, it's potentially a strategic economic lever. It could unlock totally new business models.
Right, making them more attractive financially.
Exactly. The objective is clear. Boost U.S. drone capabilities. Maintain that technological leadership. This positions the U.S., or aims to position it, as a global leader in drone tech, sharpening the competitive edge, especially against countries like, say, China.
That's a bold claim, global leader. What specifically in this rule do you think helps the U.S. really outpace others, or are there still hurdles?
Well, the potential impact is huge. It could enable drone tech across so many sectors. Think agriculture, manufacturing, energy, filmmaking, even logistics like delivering medication. It really expands the scope of what drones can do.
Okay, so wider applications.
But you're right to ask about hurdles. Safety is obviously paramount. So the proposal includes updated safety requirements for manufacturers, operators, and the traffic management systems. It's all about ensuring security in coordination with existing air traffic. How quickly the industry adapts to these new safety rules will be key.
And adaptation takes time.
It does. And importantly, there's a 60-day public comment period. This allows stakeholders, businesses, researchers, the public to weigh in and influence the final rule. It suggests a more collaborative approach, which is good.
So while the U.S. focuses on streamlining current operations like BVLS, Europe, through EASA and CSAR, seems focused on that longer-term digital European sky. You mentioned CSAR, the Partnership for Modernizing Air Traffic Management. They've put out a call for research.
That's right. A crucial call for high-priority applied research projects. The goal is specifically to develop the regulatory framework for this digital European sky. It aligns with their big strategic roadmaps, the ATM Master Plan 2025 and EPAS 2025. Think of those as Europe's 5-year aviation blueprints.
And what kind of research are they looking for?
Some really cutting-edge stuff. Human and automation dynamics, for one,
Mhm.
especially how AI and machine learning integrate.
Why is that human automation part so critical?
Well, think about it. As AI takes on more complex tasks in the cockpit or control tower, the challenge isn't just does the tech work. It's ensuring seamless, absolutely fail-safe handoffs back to human pilots or controllers when needed. That's a huge safety and training puzzle.
Makes sense. What else?
Also, research into airspace classification, how to certify novel air traffic management systems, safety evaluations, and using data better, those data for safety applications. The key thing here is this isn't just academic theory. It has real strategic implications for everyone involved.
How so?
By participating in this research, organizations can directly contribute to and, well, influence the future direction of European aviation policy. They can help shape the rules to support innovation while keeping safety paramount. It's a proactive way to build tomorrow's sky, basically.
Right, building that future sky, but always with safety first. Which brings us nicely to our next pillar, aviation safety and risk mitigation. Because even as we innovate, we face new risks, sometimes from things we use every day, like lithium batteries. EASA just released a new safety information bulletin, and SEB, because of more incidents with these batteries on planes, we've probably all had that moment, right? Fumbling for a charger, wondering, wait, is this okay on a plane? EASA is tackling that head on. What's driving this focus now?
It's really about being proactive. These incidents, while maybe not catastrophic yet, are increasing, so the new directives are quite straightforward. Airlines have a stricter obligation now to make sure we, the passengers, are fully informed about handling batteries safely.
So better communication from airlines.
Yes. And for us, the advice is clear. Carry devices like phones and laptops either on you or in your carry-on. Never check them in. The idea is you can monitor them.
Monitor for what? Overheating.
Exactly. Overheating, swelling, any sign of trouble. And there's specific emphasis on e-cigarettes and power banks. Those must also stay with you or in your carry-on, and absolutely no charging them during the flight.
No charging power banks in flight. That's a key one.
Definitely. And it goes beyond passengers. Airline and airport staff need thorough training on the risks and what to do if there's an incident, like a battery overheating in the cabin.
So the crews need to be ready, too.
Absolutely. Devices should only be charged using the plane's onboard power if available and monitored while charging. There's also a strict limit, max 100 watt-hours, which is about a standard laptop battery.
Any exceptions?
Yes, up to 160 watt-hours might be allowed with the airline's specific approval, maybe for the larger professional camera batteries, things like that.
Yeah.
But standardizing that 100-watt threshold is key for containing fire risks.
And spare batteries.
Yes. Spares must be protected from short circuits. Proper packaging, maybe taping over the terminals, keeping them isolated within your carry-on bag. It's all about managing this widespread risk from personal electronics. Effective communication and training are really critical here.
Okay, so that covers personal device risks. But aviation faces broader threats, too. A big one escalating recently is interference with navigation systems, GNSS, like GPS. We're seeing more jamming and spoofing incidents, especially noted in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. So EASA and IATA, the International Air Transport Association, have unveiled a strategy. What's their plan?
Yeah, this is serious stuff. Looking at the bigger picture, this joint strategy is really about building more resilience into our navigation systems. We rely on them so heavily, especially, with rising geopolitical tensions making these kinds of attacks more likely.
So what are the key parts of their plan?
It's multi-pronged. First, better reporting and monitoring. Standardizing how interference gets reported, setting up real-time airspace monitoring, and getting that data shared faster.
So know what's happening when it's happening.
Exactly. Second, prevention and mitigation. That means tighter controls on jamming devices, the things that cause the interference, and developing tech solutions. Things to minimize warning errors for pilots and help GPS recover faster if it gets knocked out.
making the system smarter and tougher.
Precisely. Third is infrastructure and airspace management. This includes keeping traditional navigation systems, like VORs, as reliable backups, and also optimizing how military airspace is managed alongside civilian traffic, plus improving contingency plans.
Having backups is crucial.
Always. And finally, coordination and preparedness. Better civil-military data sharing about GNSS events, and just generally preparing for evolving threats, including potential interference from or targeting drones. The big push now is for ICAO, the global body, to standardize these practices worldwide. It's about protecting the backbone of modern flight.
It really raises the question of how resilient our systems are against these external threats.
It absolutely does.
Okay, staying on safety, but moving to something more technical. EASA also issued a specific alert about an engine part, the load reduction device, or LRD, in certain CFM-LEP engines. Now, for those of us not deep into engine mechanics, what's an LRD and why the bulletin?
Okay, so an LRD, a load reduction device, is basically a safety feature. It's designed to protect the engine if it gets overloaded under certain conditions. But this EASA bulletin was triggered by two specific incidents where the LRD activating actually, well, contributed to a problem.
How so?
In both cases involving Boeing 737-8 aircraft with these CFM LEP-1B engines, they had bird strikes. The strikes caused significant engine damage, which then activated the LRD as designed. But that activation subsequently led to smoke events in the cabin or cockpit area.
Ah, okay, so an unintended consequence.
Exactly. Now, importantly, no injuries were reported. And interestingly, they haven't seen similar incidents on Airbus A320EOs using a variation of the same engine family. But these safety information bulletins, EVs, they're vital. They alert operators of specific aircraft, like those B-737-8s with those engines, so they can review their procedures, maybe enhance maintenance or training protocols. It's that crucial feedback loop. Real-world events informing operational safety improvements.
Got it. A targeted safety update. And speaking of vigilance, we unfortunately still need to talk about conflict zones. ES issued a Conflict Zone Information Bulletin, a CZIB, for the Middle East airspace, specifically Iran, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, and Lebanon, due to recent military activities.
Yeah, and this really highlights a crucial point for airlines and operators. Decision makers need to stay constantly vigilant and potentially revisit their flight plans based on these evolving EASA updates. It's about safety and compliance.
What's the main concern cited in the bulletin?
EASA, along with the European Commission and member states, is actively monitoring. But the bulletin notes the volatile conditions and, importantly, limited confidence in the ability of some states in the region to provide timely risk mitigation. That lack of confidence makes EASA's monitoring and guidance even more critical for airlines flying near or over those areas.
Constant risk assessment in dynamic situations.
Absolutely.
Okay, finally, in this safety section, let's look at how we learn from specific incidents. We'll revisit that mid-air collision near Reagan National Airport, DCA, back on January 29, 2025. It involved a PSA Airlines jet and a Sikorsky H-60 helicopter. The FAA took swift, comprehensive action. What exactly did they change to prevent that happening again?
This incident is a really striking example of how aviation safety evolves. What's fascinating is the speed and breadth of the response. A single tragic event drives immediate and long-term systemic changes.
So what were those changes at DCA?
Well, first, they eliminated the mixing of helicopter and fixed-wing traffic in that specific area. They closed a known conflict point, Route 4, between Haynes Point and the Wilson Bridge. They also moved helicopter routes further away from the main airport traffic flow and introduced something called the broad creep transition to ensure safer vertical separation between aircraft types.
Vertical separation, making sure they're at different altitudes.
Correct. They also tightened procedures. For instance, they eliminated the use of visual separation by controllers within 5 miles of DCA.
What does visual separation mean in practice, and why stop using it there?
Visual separation is when controllers rely on pilots actually seeing other aircraft to maintain safe distances, rather than just relying on radar. In busy, complex airspace like DCA's, eliminating it near the airport forces reliance on stricter, radar-based separation standards, reducing the chance of error.
Got it. More reliance on technology, less on eyeballs in that critical zone.
Precisely. They also revised military agreements to require helicopters operating nearby to broadcast their position using ADS-B out technology. That makes it much more visible on controller screens.
Better tracking for helicopters?
Yes. And operationally, the FAA increased staffing and oversight at the DCA control tower. It's all part of their ongoing work with the NTSB, the Safety Board, and continuous risk analysis for the whole busy Baltimore-Washington airspace. It shows that vital collaboration between agencies.
a multi-layered response to a specific event. Okay, we've covered tech and safety. Let's shift gears to another crucial foundation, the workforce and the infrastructure supporting them. The U.S. Department of Transportation and the FAA have unveiled a pretty comprehensive strategy to, as they say, future-proof the air traffic management and safety workforce. This is a direct response to all the new tech coming online, electric aircraft, drones, commercial space travel. And the hiring numbers are big, aiming for at least 8,900 new air traffic controllers by 2028. That includes 2,000 just next year in 2025. Now, anyone following the industry knows staffing has been a challenge. That sounds incredibly ambitious. What's different this time? Are there hidden challenges?
It is ambitious, but if you connect it to the bigger picture, it's a clear recognition that human expertise is just as critical as all the fancy tech, maybe even more so. This massive investment in people is vital for maintaining safety and efficiency as aviation gets more complex. It's about keeping the U.S. a leader in aerospace.
So what makes this plan different? How will they hit those numbers?
They're trying several things. Simplifying the hiring and training process is key. Reducing admission lead times, streamlining in the aptitude exams. They've already qualified over 8,300 candidates that way. They're also offering financial incentives to attract people to high-demand, often hard-to-staff facilities.
Upstate talks, right.
Sometimes it has to. And they're expanding the ATCTI program, that's the Collegiate Training Initiative, for more direct placements from colleges into FAA facilities.
Sure.
Plus, new tech on the training side, upgraded tower simulation systems. They hope this will cut down training durations by up to 27%.
Faster training could make a big difference. What are the hidden challenges, though?
Well, meeting the number is one thing. Retention is another, keeping those controllers once they're trained. And ensuring the quality of training stays high when you're pushing through such large volumes of new hires. That's always the balancing act.
Right. Quality can't dip. And to give you a concrete example of that recruitment drive, the FAA just announced a new partnership with Nashua Community College in New Hampshire. They're joining that Enhanced Air Traffic Collegiate Training Initiative, the ECTI program. It's the first school in New Hampshire to join, and the fifth new ECTI program launched just this year.
And these partnerships are really effective. They build that robust talent pipeline we were just talking about. It helps develop local talent, gives students a clear career path, and directly serves the national need for well-trained controllers and other aviation pros. It creates that direct pathway from the classroom into a critical job.
Makes sense. Growing the talent pool locally. Okay, finally, let's touch on a very practical airport operations update. Anyone who flies through Newark Liberty, EWR, knows it can be, well, let's just say challenging with delays sometimes. And now the FAA is proposing to extend the current limits on flight arrivals and departures there right through October 24th, 2026. What's driving this extension, and what does it actually mean for travelers using Newark?
Yeah, Newark is a classic example of that tough question.
Yeah.
How do major airports handle big modernization projects while trying to minimize disruption for literally millions of travelers? This proposal to extend the limits has direct impacts on airlines and passengers.
What are the specific limits?
Okay, so from September 1st to December 31st, 2025, specifically during weekends when major construction is happening, operations will be capped at just 28 arrivals and departures per hour. That's quite low for Newark.
28 per hour on construction weekends. Wow.
Yeah. Then outside that period, starting October 26, 2025, the cap goes up slightly to 36 arrivals and departures per hour. And that limit would stay in place until October 24, 2026.
So reduced capacity for quite a while. Why?
The stated goal is pretty clear. Reduce travel delays and ensure safety while the airport deals with ongoing challenges in construction. This wasn't decided in a vacuum. It came after input from airlines and other stakeholders who use the airport heavily. And the FAA is encouraging public feedback on this proposal by August 15, 2025. So they are looking for input before finalizing it.
Managing congestion during upgrades. A necessary headache, maybe.
Often, yes. A balancing act.
Well, what an incredible journey through the current state of aviation today. We've really covered a lot of ground, from that emerging digital sky with drones and new regulations to the really nitty-gritty details of lithium battery safety and mitigating complex threats like GNSS interference. And finally, that crucial long-term investment in the people, the workforce, who make it all happen safely.
It really underscores that aviation is just constantly innovating, constantly adapting. You see it in the details, like those engine safety bulletins, and in the big picture, like those workforce plans. Every piece is about enhancing safety and efficiency to meet today's demands and, importantly, prepare for the future.
So as we wrap up, here's a thought to leave you with. What does all this actually mean for you? How might these sort of behind the scenes shifts in regulation and technology change your own experience of flying? Or even just how you view the future of getting around, maybe much sooner than you think. We hope this deep dive gave you some fresh perspective, maybe sparked a few new questions. Until next time, keep exploring these fascinating topics.